Everybody, good morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host and disembodied hands, Quindy. Yeah, it's one a day. It's been a morning. Disembodied Fear John and Polly. Hi, everybody. Ah, dearie me. Yeah, sorry. Sleep last night. It was sleep us interrupt us. So I'm like a little bleary this morning, but we'll get through it. Bleary is a thing. We're gonna do fur. As I recall, yeah, you guys always know that, again, I'm running a little bit late. It's usually because I've had kind of a bad night and I'm rushing to try to get some semblance of awakeness and get everything done. All right. If I have been using pure black and pure white up to this point, then I want to stop. But I think I was using a mixture. I think I mixed my black on this one. A blue and brown liner. Blue and brown liner mix, which is going to be better because I can see hints of color in there. Yeah. I hate it when I don't sleep well. Yeah, so you all are there with me. You know how you get that kind of bleary, distracted brain where you're like, oh, I need to do X and Y, but wait, I don't need to do that right now. I need to do Z and A right now. Right, Keeks? Yeah, Kiki. Good morning. Good morning, Brown Eyes. You want to come up and say hello? You can come up and say hello early. You haven't done an early hello in a while. Oh, no, almost. Kiki says almost, but mostly she just wants scritches. Mostly she just wants scritches. Bridget says you might be fat. Oh, I don't know. It's a close thing. It's a close thing. It's hard to tell. Her fur is so fluffy. Yeah, you. All right, girly girl. Go lay down. It's work. It's work. Good girl. But yeah, David was had a work dinner last night, so I got sushi. Actually, I got poke. I love poke. I love it. I get it with just salad leaves and salad greens instead of rice, which usually keeps calories down. But I forgot and I ordered a medium. I thought a medium was going to be fine, but it was just way too much. So whenever I overeat, then I get bad sleep, which is great for my diet. You know, new motivation not to overeat. But at the same time, it really bummed me out a bit. 3 scoops of protein, as it turns out, is too much. Too much. So now I'm going to have to downgrade to the small bowl. And I'm going to mix up some extra black here. So I'm doing 3 drops of brown liner, 3 drops of blue liner. Oh, sadly, when I wake up, I really wake up, so I'm very conscious of how much time I'm losing. All right, half and half, blue liner and brown liner usually will give you a result that's just slightly on the blue side for a black, which is typically what I like. So put a drop of water in that, and then I am going to move some of it over. It's not much to see here. It's just a dark blob. Then I'm going to mix it up, see if it's the color I really like. See if it's a good black for me. Sometimes the drops are a little bit off-sized, right? So, yeah, this one's going a little bit warmer. That's all right. I'll use it. I'll find out for sure when I mix the white into it. So I'll take 2 big drops of that. Add pure white. Yeah, barometric pressure usually gets my sinuses going. Ooh, and my hands are really dry today. I'm going to stop and put a little bit of lotion on them. So that makes this nice dark gray, which is a good gray. So put some water in that. And then we'll want to switch some of that over, or just switch a little bit more of our big black over here. Put more white in it. This white is almost out, but I have backup bottles because that's what I do. I order backup bottles of pure white. And my sinuses are going off too. Just Dodoma. It's just been that kind of thing. We had a lot of wind coming through last night and cooler temperatures today, I think. So there we go. So we're just mixing up all of our colors so that we can work across the bunny without having to stop to mix things. And then I'm going to do some pure white. But first, I'm going to blow my nose because it's one of those mornings. But tonight I have a fun thing. Stephanie, who's a French lady whose family has been in the States for several years now, they're finally going back to France. She's in my CrossFit class. And so we're all going out to the dive bar next to just down the street from the CrossFit gym tonight. Which we've done before. We did before, like, last month for some other occasion. I think it was just because we hadn't, like, done Fred's for a while, and Andrew was like, you know what? We used to do this all the time at 7 p.m., so let's go. So that's Stephanie's going away tonight. Going away party, for lack of a better term. It's kind of fun. All right, so I guess I got to apply lotion to hands. Hands were really atrocious this morning. There we go. It is a fun alternate spelling. I agree, Pendrick. There we go. All right, good. Now I feel like my hands aren't horrible, scaly lizard hands. When it comes to Halloween, I should actually like get a pair of horrible, scaly lizard hands and try to paint with it, but I think that would be pretty much a fail out the gate. Hey there, Daffodil. Kiki left a hair on the edge of my water jar. Seriously, Kiki? She's almost done. Like, I keep telling David, she's almost done. And he's like, but there's still fur. But it'll go down. The maids will be here next week. They will nuke the fur from the environment. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, if it's he's at a con, but he's gonna try to get back, then that's a question mark, yeah. If it's like it used to be at Reaper, then I would give that a 33% chance of Reaper Live and a 66% chance of no Reaper Live. Just because it's already herding cats, so when you're trying to herd cats at the last minute, then it can get even worse. But sometimes it works, so. Alright, so we thinned down our white. It's about a 2-to-1, so it's 4 drops of white and 2 drops of water. I decided I'd gone a bit thick on the previous day that we worked on him, so I'm going a little bit thinner. Yeah, because you just never know traffic and all the rest of it and stuff that can delay you when you're trying to get home from a con, so yeah, I'd give it a 33% chance of Reaper Live. A 66% chance of no Reaper Live. So now we've got all our colors. Now we'll get in focus. There. I mean, you try to do it, but there's no guarantee, right? So just keep in mind there's no guarantee. I'm going to start with my thinner brush today, which is my older Da Vinci Maestro. It's going to let me get yeah, for sure. I mean, John always wants to, like, I think he has a sense of responsibility, but to be fair and most likely. So now I'm going to test how thin my paint is. Yeah, it's good. All right. So with this, I don't mind leaving a little texture, but I don't want quite as much texture as I was leaving over here. So I think I'm going to actually kind of take this gray that I worked on here and just kind of paint it a little bit over this white. I feel like the white is just a little bit too harsh. And I'm essentially taking it and just glazing it. I haven't even like thinned it that much, but it's thin enough that it'll kind of kill some of these brush marks that I'm seeing in this white. And then we can, yeah, that looks a lot smoother now. See, and that was just me painting my gray over the white, and you can still see the white. The consistency of my gray is kind of like this. So you can see how you could still, if you put it on thickly, you'd still get a decent coverage, but when you pull it thin, it's actually a glaze consistency. So I would say this is a layering consistency, personally. But you can glaze with that, depending on what colors you're using. Like all this stuff we do, layer, glaze, etc., like these terms that we throw around, it's really just a matter of how transparent is your paint for the effect that you're trying to do. And likewise, around the eyes, I'm not as happy, so I'm going to glaze and redo. I feel like I could get a little bit, I need to take more paint off my brush though. I feel like I could get a little bit more kind of organic look. Sometimes when you're doing white patterns on fur, if you don't have enough of a transition, it can look just very stark and not as natural. So I'm going to bring that gray in and try to use it to blend in some of these areas. So it's not quite as high of a difference. Hey Rain, what's up? Let's get the other eye. And if I need my black, I've got it. So if I feel like I need to make sure that I bring that back in, I can. Chilling? Yeah. I didn't sleep great last night, so I'm chilling as well. I'm trying to decide on my $10 PDF or $10 video for this month for my Patreon. Usually I have a list that I go down, but the topic I had this month just wasn't like thrilling me, so I'm thinking about going back to my list and snagging a different topic from it. The fur is a little bit too extreme over here, so I'm going to cut it, trim it down a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to bring in more of my, I'm going to grab some white and trim this eye a little bit. The inner corner is not as trimmed up as I would like it. The face is important, so like, don't like begrudge yourself the time to really tweak things around your face. It's important for any mini, I would argue, especially important for animal minis, where you're really trying to engage the viewer with that face. Okay, that looks a little better. No. I just have to, this is something I very personally have to decide, Pendrake. Like, it tends to be actually a turnoff for me to do something that I just did on stream for another video, because I've already done it here. So yeah, it will be more focused and I'll have clearer talking points about it. That's the advantage of the Patreon versus the stream. But at the same time, mostly I'm looking at the models that I have kind of prepped and kind of questioning, asking myself, what do I feel like doing on this? There. A little bit sharper. I just want a little bit more of the sharp markings around the eyes there. Besides, I've already done like how to paint animal markings using black and white, because I did a husky. So it's a topic I've already done on the Patreon. So if you haven't seen that, you could go look. I think it's under painting fur or painting animals. I can't remember. You'd want to just search the keywords. My keywords are very consistent, so. All right, now we'll take this and bring in a little bit more fur texture down here on the inside of the arm. We're using our really thin brush so that we can get a very, very thin brush stroke. Another brush to use, if you should have any of them, are the Rubloff brushes from Russia. They are very, very thin, needle-like brushes. See how thin those are? And they are fantastic for this sort of detail. In fact, if you compare them to my really worn down Da Vinci, you see that the one and this Da Vinci are very close to each other. So even though my brush is far worn down here, it's still usable. Like it's the same as a fresh brush from this brand and line. So just because your brush is worn down a bit doesn't mean that it can't be useful. For me, my brushes tend to wear like this. I know that's not the case for most people. But for anybody who uses really thin paint and who tends to rinse their brushes a lot, like Rhonda and I wear brushes the same way. We both get this kind of thinning effect that happens as we wear brushes down, which really just makes them even better for certain things. So I'm going to use that really fine tip to put in some very fine fur texture there. And I'm going to carry that down a little bit with my gray, because the gray's a little bit cloudy and murky. There, fur. So yeah, the Rubloff is the brush that you would use for this kind of, like when you're painting this kind of fur, where you're trying to get it really fine. Those thin brushes. You need to thin your paint a lot, but to use those brushes effectively, maybe I'll do a PDF or a video on that. Brush loading for fine texture. I can use my orc and do some cross hatching. That'd probably be a really good video. Anything that very specifically shows like paint consistency, brush loading, brush shape, all that kind of thing tends to be really good. Now on the hands, the fur is short enough that I'm still going to do a brush stroke, but I'm just going to keep it very understated. Hey there, Kodiak. Like, I'm not looking for a really heavy brush stroke on hands because the hands are going to have really short fur on them. So instead I'll try to keep the brush stroke like unidirectional to show that there's fur, like to imply that there's a fur texture. It's just very fine. The light is only just catching it. It gives you that soft look. Let's get the back of the hand. Now the back of the hand does have some black, and it's more the inside of the arm that gets the white. So I need to show that the fur is going, like merging between the black here and the area that will be white. Let's start with my light gray. Now on the fingers, I'm not going to go across. These are very small. Like, normally I'd be a crossways brush stroke, but if the fur is growing down the fingers, it's going to be growing pretty much straight down them. So I'm within my rights to do it this way. I'm going to keep shadow on the underside. Yeah, I haven't decided for sure on all my colors yet, Kodiak, but the idea is to make him look like a rogue mage. Mage rogue, dual class, sorcerer rogue, whatever you want to call him. A rogue with magic. Oh yeah, still a puppy. Kiki is even still a puppy, and she's almost 2. So the back of the hand is getting a bit more light because the fingers more or less are vertical. So I'm going to bring up the white more around that black fur area. And again, I'm trying to use short brush strokes to suggest the fur. If I can show the silver fur kind of creeping into the black, that's perfect. Takes a fine set of brush strokes, and you usually only want to do that when you've got some room. So like here, you can't really see the black, but here you've got this little patch of black fur that you have the room to show that. So we'll make that a little bit brighter, we'll make that a little bit lighter, and then we'll make that dark. So kind of a transition. The knuckles do stick out a little bit, so if I want to put a tiny bit of a highlight down here where the fingers curve around the blade, we're good. But yeah, I'm not really concerned with like what color to make the rest of him just yet. I had some ideas, but I may trash them at any point. Worth saying that for some of you, it will be worth more to start with a plan and then execute that plan on your models, while some of you may be more like me, where you want to keep yourself open to ideas, and if you get a better one, you just go there. But it's definitely like different ways of thinking, and neither way is the best way. There is no best way. So neither is going to get you a better result. There's just the result that works for you. Some people will get frustrated not having a plan, and others will get frustrated by having to stick to one. I'm kind of halfway between. I like to start with a plan, but I'm open to changing it for a better idea. Hey, Gosu. It's okay. Kind of sleepy today. How much does she weigh now, Kodiak Nova? Kiki always looks small to me until I see her with other dogs. And I'm like, why is your dog so tiny? Shiloh colored glasses. Oh, okay, yeah. That's a good weight for her age. I obsess a little bit about Kiki's weight because being overweight is a big like environmental factor for like hips and elbows. So I try to keep my dogs at a really good weight. So. Bringing the white in here on the back of the hand. Starting to slow down a little, yeah. It's always a relief when that happens. So I'm going to try to do kind of little short fur brush strokes here. Try and get that little bit. It wasn't as successful as it was on the other side. Yeah, I'm always impressed with the fact that you know the day of the week, even though you're retired, Twisted Oma. I think that would be the first thing that would go for me. As it is, this stream keeps me focused on the day of the week. Oh, and I guess I also always am focused on like anything that sets a schedule. So like my CrossFit being Tuesday, Thursday means I actually care about when it's Tuesday or Thursday. Hey, Hyper. 77 pounds for Kiki. That's why I'm worried that she's getting overweight. Hey, thanks for the resub, Hyper. Yay, Hyper Bunny with the resub. 38 months. Thank you so much. Hey, Woody. All right, so I'm fighting back and forth a little bit with getting this integration here. The brush strokes there are okay. But I buried some of my blacks, so I'm going to go back in. With fur, I often find it is this sort of back and forth, especially on a small model like this, because you have so little room to execute. It is easier on a bigger model, because you have a lot more room to show the brush strokes. You're not trying to fit them into these tiny areas. It's probably good enough there. I'm going to finish the ear here. Here's when I'm going to take my pure white and take the brush strokes that I've already put down and just accentuate them. That's cool, Twisted Oma. We'll miss you. Oh, wow. Yeah, 3%, right? Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I like that idea that I just came up with for the Patreon, and maybe I'll do painting fine lines, like mechanics, brush loading and unloading, paint consistency, etc. for painting fine lines. Whether you're doing fur or lining or some kind of cross hatching or other detailing, we'll do that. So being crisp like this does take some of the natural look out of it. It's more stylized, right? Whereas opposed to that feels a little more natural. So what you want to do is up to you. With this, it's more like I'm suggesting the fur as the edges come out. I can kind of get the best of both worlds if I come back in and just strengthen some of the little tufts. No, this is a specific color pattern that we're using, Woody. 1 second. Hold on, let me find my appropriate image. This guy is our image. This is our bunny. It's a breed of rabbit called the Silver Martin. And that is what I am patterning Rask after. And I did the fur on the back side of this ear wrong, so I'm going to go back and redo it. Because it's going to grow. I had painted it kind of going down, and it's actually going to grow up. But yeah, it's my favorite breed of rabbit. We did the other Harefolk as a wild hare, so I wanted to do something different for this one. But you can see that the ear has silver toward the back of it. So the front edge is black, but the back edge is silver. So we're going to do that. Yeah, I always start with animals. I always try to start with a specific photo reference. So we're just going to do a little bit of silver fur here. I'm going to start with the gray, the light gray. Do the brush strokes in the direction. Now this is a very short fur on the back of the ear, and so we want to use a shorter brush stroke. Like that. And now we're going to go around, kind of look. It looks like they should be here. There's another streak. Everybody who's read the first Redwall books knows what a Pine Marten is because it was one of the bad guy characters in one of the first books. I think it was Mossflower. That was the book. But I'm a big fan of Redwall, so maybe I'm just the one who remembers that. Yeah, I found kind of a treasure actually. I always walk by a little local grade school. It's just down the street from us, and they had a book giveaway that was just like old library books that they were totally like free to good home. And I found this, which I believe is the original cover of Redwall. Isn't that cool? Done all heraldic tapestry style. Yeah, isn't it a throwback? Yeah, and the back is also really cool, huh? Very throwback. Yeah, I was so happy. I like having like the old covers of some of the books that I really love. The other ones that I always loved were, let me see, hold on, let me see if I can find it quick, I'll grab it. If I can't find it quick, then we'll be done with it. But I think they're over here. Maybe not. I always forget where I put this stuff. Oh, there they are. I always love these old covers for Anne McCaffrey's Harper Hall series. I haven't been able to find Dragon Singer. I need to get on the used book sites, but I love how these covers like show the fire lizards. Like I love how they look. So this is Dragon Song. But I just adore it. I've always adored these particular artist. I love how fine, how delicate the dragons are. The little dragons, the dragonettes, the fire lizards. I love how elegant and like the later books, the fire lizards are much more, you know, chonky and shaped like the original dragons because that's the point. But I always really liked the artistic vibe of those fire lizards. Yay, lamp, Hyper Bunny. But yeah, some of the books that I loved as a kid, I remember those covers very vividly, and if I see one in a used bookstore, I'll usually pick it up. Get a little bit of those silver streaks heading on the back of the ears. Yeah. That's one thing I do love about our current house is that even though it has no AC, even when it gets to be 90 in the 90s out, it never goes higher than 80 in the house because our insulation is just good enough. So as long as we open up the house in the morning when it's nice and cool, and get the fans going and bring the temperature down as much as we can. Like during the day, it won't go too crazy. All right. So here again, I've got to be careful to make the fur go the right direction. But yeah, I'm happy if you have power now, Hyper. That's good. It's brutal when it's hot out. Redo that. But yeah, I really like that red wall cover, so I totally yoinked that library book. I had never seen it. I checked to see if it was a first printing. It was the first Avon printing. I wonder if they published it with a different publisher first and then changed publishers. I'm always on the lookout for first editions. I just am tickled when I have one. They don't really, nowadays there is no first edition because it's all digital printed, right? It's all print on demand. I don't think they do first printings or first editions anymore. It's an old book thing. So I'm going to try to keep my brush strokes going in the direction the fur would grow, which along the back of the leg is going to kind of split to either side and be going that way and that way. And then it's going to go down. You can see the fur direction on the front of the leg going down the front. Going to say the only good thing about being the last 3% is that at least you know that like they're redirecting all those resources then to those 3%. So hopefully they get you back up and running fast at that point. So I'm really focusing on keeping my brush strokes distinct toward the edges to show the fur direction. It doesn't need to do it doesn't need to be as distinct when you're putting the fur on top of each other, on top of itself rather. So any like soft texture you can get is good. Like this looks furry, and so that's the goal. But I think it's just fantasy weapon. I mean, a lot of fantasy weapons are based on historical weapons, obviously. But like we can see that fur texture, and that's what we want. Let's go to the front of the leg. So I'm going to re-emphasize kind of what I've got going on here. I'll probably bring in a little bit of finer detailing up here in this gray fur that just really is just rough streaks. Then we get these little toesies. And once again, I'm just doing short little brush strokes to suggest a texture. Some people are weapons nerds. Not looking at anybody out there. Or history nerds. Yeah, my nerd book would have something to say about that. One second. Looking at a nerd book. Nerd book. No, we don't want the Stone Age. I have a very simple nerd book for this kind of thing. Sometimes I like the eyewitness books, like ones that they do typically for younger readers. But it can... Yeah, kind of like... The shape of it, boop, 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 is similar to that. And that is Bronze Age. But it doesn't say where. Celtic. There we go. Bronze Age Celtic. But like, there's also one that was very Viking that's kind of similar, but that's longer. But I mean, the differences between like Celtic and Viking, there's a lot of shared aesthetics across those disciplines. So, I mean, for me, not so much. Like, I did it just there just because I was curious, but usually I just take it for what it's worth. And because when I'm painting a mini, it depends, Gosu, because when I'm painting a mini, often I don't want to be influenced by that. But if I'm looking for an idea to paint the mini and I find out that the sword is kind of Celtic, then maybe I would have painted him more like, you know, more in line with that. You know, like, there's an opportunity there to gain some inspiration if that's what your mood is, but never have to feel like you must do that. Little feet. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings stuff is directly, I mean, if you have any of the art books, you'll know that they pulled the ideas directly from history for inspiration for that. Which they should, because, I mean, Tolkien's whole thing, right, was, he was a history and languages professor. I took archaeology classes when I was in college. Got about a third of an archaeology degree. I had about a third of an English degree, a third of an archaeology degree. You know, I was going for an art degree, but the thing about going for an art degree is that you have a ton of electives. And so I got about a third of a philosophy degree, a third of an English degree, and a third of an archaeology degree, in addition to working on my art degree. Because those were the things I was interested in. Archaeology, though, I had to talk with one of my professors, and they're like, yeah, working in this field is brutal. There are very few, like, openings for field work that you have to fight for. It's a lot of networking. You know, it's very hard to get a job, things like that. Kind of discouraged me from putting more time into it. Oh, yeah, enjoy your lunch. Yeah, thank you, Gosu. So if I want to minimize this line between where the foot comes down to the toes, I can glaze. I'll need to thin down my white. when you're thinning white, you have to really take it thin since it's a naturally opaque pigment. Depending on how much you want to color the surface, but you should pretty much have it be, sometimes you have to test it on your fingernail, but it should be almost invisible. You can see the line there, that even though I thinned it that much, it still shows up that strongly. But that's all right, I should still be able to see my gray through it, so. I mean, paleontology and archaeology are very related fields, right? Last I checked, a paleontologist was a type of archaeologist. Am I wrong there? So glaze, wick off any excess fluid. And that's made that fade a little bit more. Nice. It'll take a while for the AC to probably kick in, depending on the kind of AC you've got. But congratulations, Hyper. I'm glad. I'm very glad for you. Now you can stop stressing about that. And that's good. Anything that means less stress is good. I'm going to kind of connect these areas a little bit with the two middle toes. Just to make that a little bit. That looks good. Mm-hmm. Non-human versus human, got it. That's the differentiation given when I did a quick Google. Well, that means they'd have to make up a whole new, like when I was a little kid, if I could have any fanciful job I wanted to be an archaeologist on an alien planet. But that would mean it wouldn't be archaeology anymore. We'd have to like make up a new word for non-human, like archaeology. Just gonna accentuate a little bit on the fur on the edges here. Woody, I haven't decided. Some combination of like red, purple, blue, I think. I want him to be a mage rogue. That's what Christine envisioned him as, and that's what I envisioned him as. But I'm still tossing around ideas in my head. Get that fur feeling there. All right, that foot looks good. Let's do the other one. Xenoarchaeology, yes, probably. I don't know that I would, I mean, is it necessarily pre-human or just non-human? Because, like, wouldn't it still be archaeology if you were, like, digging up a bog for plant samples from, like, the Middle Ages to try to figure something out? I don't know. This is all just, like, who knows? So we'll start by getting our fur direction in there. My brother and his family just finished with Pizza Land. They moved over yesterday into Germany. They were in Munich, I think. So now it's the land of beer and sausage instead of pasta and pizza. Just start mapping out these little toesies. Great. Yeah, but we don't have like, we would argue whether that's like space archaeology if it's not. Like, we were quibbling about the definitions of archaeology versus paleontology. Because paleontology is like non-human and archaeology is human. And then we'd need xenoarchaeology if we were doing like alien civilizations, which of course we don't have any reference for yet. But I've always thought that it's just as likely that we find, or even more likely, that we find the remains of alien civilizations instead of the alien civilizations themselves. Maybe that's just me and my like, but it's just like the scale, the time scale of the universe makes me think that. Like what an eye blink we are in the whole like lifespan of the universe. I think makes it just as likely that we run into, if we ran into extraterrestrial life at all, that we'd be just as, that was advanced enough to build a civilization, that it would be just as likely that they were past and that they were current. But yeah, I'll look up Dr. Space Junk. Sounds fun. Cool, Twisted Oma. Hey, New and Code, thank you for that resub. 54 months. That's a long time. Thank you much. You're almost like at 60 months. It's been 5 years. That's a lot. We've been doing this a long time, haven't we? Yeah, it's cool. David's not into archaeology. It's one of the things he does not share with me. Like, I'm all excited because one of the places our cruise will be going in December has Mayan ruins, and I think he could care. And now a glaze. I'm going to do the puddle effect this time. Puddle it on. Pull it off with a damp or dried off brush. I tend to like to use a brush that's just damp and has had most of the liquid pulled out of it just because it's more precise. I'm going to grab my black and lime between the toes. Because it'll let me trim them up a little bit. Oh, nice. If they're still alive, that's great. Sometimes they're not. Some of those old Citadel paints were inspiration for colors for Master Series. If those are the ones that I think they are. Very cool. Yeah, that's good luck. That's really good luck, Richard, that they're still good. Are those the clear hex bottles that are shorter, or the coat d'arms ones that were the hex bottles that were taller? I'm going to shade around these feet. Kiki, are you being a little terrorist back there somewhere? She's like starting to act up because it's getting toward the end of the stream, and she knows it. She's like, if I could make a fuss, maybe Mommy will stop doing stuff. Paint goblins, meaning me. Hey, Bubba. You heard me, huh? You heard me? Yeah, Papa? Did you hear the pizza? We didn't talk about pizza. You want to come up? Come up! Come up, Bubba! There we go. We get a Kiki. We get a Kiki. She wants to lick. Oh, because I put lotion on my hands. You are a lotion licker. Why? It makes your tongue greasy. But Mama, it tastes so good. It smells so good. It must taste good. It must taste good. Yo, you don't need to eat that, Missy. Silly Kiki. Silly Keekster. Ah! Ah! So I have my fresh smelling lemony. Hey, no. What you doing? What you doing, no? What? Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Yes, you're such a silly. You're such a silly, Kiki. You're so silly. You are, but you know what? We have a whole 20 minutes left. Even accounting for the fact that I've gone late so many times recently, we still have to stream until 11. I guess we have 15 minutes left. Yeah, we still have to stream till 11, little ba. Sorry. Sorry, Bubba. Yeah, go settle, please. Go settle. I gave you a chew. You're just being a turkey. She's just being a spoiled turkey. Hey, spoiled turkey. You got fur on your face. There. You're better. Okay. Settle down, Bubba. Settle down, please. It's not time yet. Work. Work, Kiki. She's like, oh yeah? Watch me go be a dingo again. She's like, I came to put fur all over your work area. Round ones? Oh, yeah. Oh, more than 15. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe, I don't remember when the Foundation series first came out. I think they're after the ones that I showed in the hexes. But still. I had a really happy day yesterday. I'm really happy with the primary mixing PDF that I put out yesterday. It was fun to mess around with primaries. I almost just want to paint a model just with those colors on my palette. Maybe we should do that, except that I'd have to acquire some. I think I'm not sure I have canary yellow and I'd want that. We'd have to choose which model. It should be a simpler model that I should paint if we're going to just paint with primaries. We could do it though. We could get our clear red and our... I probably wouldn't bother with clear green. I'd probably just mix. I'd just use red, yellow, blue, black, white. Maybe red oxide. Technically not a primary though. We've got our little furry heels here, looking pretty good. Not be a Reaper Live. There will not be a Reaper Land tomorrow. Thank you, Quindy, for that update. We will have to find something else to do with our time. Oh, speaking of which, Quindy, my necromancer in Diablo, is at level 55, and I really love her. Also, why are necromancers so tall in that game? Every time I'm talking to an NPC, I like tower over them. But I have lots of skeletons because I'm doing a combo build. Bone Spear plus Skellies. Because minions are good right now. Your Skelly minions are even better than they would have been when you were playing before. They are really tall. Like every time I talk to an NPC, I'm like a head and a half taller than that person. Yeah, I have skeleton friends. I didn't know that. I didn't think I would like skeleton friends, but I actually really like them. Like at first I picked Bone Spear because I just wanted to be me, but then I was using some Skelly mages to help me level, and I liked them, and I was like, oh, maybe I should find a combo build. But yeah, minion builds are really good right now. So my Skellies are happy. All of the raising they do. Snort. Seriously though, it's ridiculous. There has to be memes about this, and I just haven't found them. Alrighty, I think our feet are good. I think we've got our fur pretty much dialed in, guys. I think we do. Yeah, the minion builds are really good right now. There's a lot of stuff in the new expansion that buffs minions and makes your minions happy. My Skelly mages are very squishy, but they're pretty badass otherwise. It was so unbalanced, but you loved your skeleton friends anyway. Yeah, you'd love them even more now when they can actually murder hobo things. Like, I might take this character to 100. I've never leveled a Diablo character to 100. I've never loved a Diablo character enough to do it. The closest I got was my Barbarian last patch, and it was, or last time we played, and it was, that one's level 70. So, but I like this. This is fun. Yeah, it's nice to detox at the end of the day and just murder lots of demons. The problem is, and this always happens, it happens in Path of Exile, and now it's happening in Diablo, but David doesn't like his build as much, and so he isn't playing as much. Like, it seems like this is always the case. Like, it's never been the case that both of us have a good build at the same time. Like, he always goes for something way overpowered, and if he is not OP, he like, just loses interest. It's really amusing to me. Like, last night, the going gag with us is that he always outruns me. Like, he's always, like, faster than me, and I'm always trying to struggle to keep up with him. Last night, I pointed out that I was moving faster than he was, and he freaked. He's like, that's not fair. Gamer relationships, folks. Gamer relationships. You're tempting me. Give it a try, Quindy. Give it a try. Aluminum foil trees. Nice. Yeah, good, Crowley. Sweet. Sounds like a creative day. Like, that just sounds like the kind of day that would, like, regenerate your creativity. And that is the best kind of day. Like, it sounds so relaxing, just sitting and watching, like, a show you like, and, like, putting, like, creatively making things. Like, that's just it. That's the goal. That's like what you hope to be doing in retirement, right? Get the white fur here. Yeah, it's amazing how a detox day can just make you, like, noticeably happier, right? I run into that when I overwork, which is a lot. But lately I've been really trying to integrate relaxation, like a little bit of downtime, into the middle of my day over my lunch, and it makes such a difference. And then actually trying to, you know, have some downtime on the weekends as well. All right, just a little bit brightening up. I think I'm going to brighten up this fur just a little bit, and then we are done with our fur. He's cool, though. Doesn't he look cool? With his white hands and his white feet and his markings. There. Here we go. What do you guys think? Do you like the markings? I need to make these highlights on his ears a little bit nicer, though. We're losing some fur texture here. Yeah, I mean, the thing about black and white, though, is that any color is going to look good, Richard. That's the thing. It doesn't matter what color I use at this point, because I don't have to think of any color theory, because everything's going to go fine with it. And it's going to be, like, the fact that we've got some really tight facial markings means that the eye will go there, so we don't really have to worry too much about using distracting colors in other areas. I'm just going to do some fur texture here, guys, with my dark gray. There, I got some highlighting. Don't want to get it too much, though. I'm going to break up this gray just a little. There we go, a little better. And I'm going to use a little bit of that gray on the top of his nose to lighten it up. Put a little bit of a highlight there. And then I just want to do a little bit of highlight with the gray on the back of the arms as well. But yeah, they made a lot of quality of life improvements too since I last played Diablo. Some things are just a lot easier. Like when you salvage an aspect, Quindy, it goes right into your codex, not into your, like, it doesn't sit in inventory. Yeah, it's huge quality of life. It's like, there's some huge, like, it's so much easier. I'm having so much more fun with it. Yeah, and every time, I think you get to, like, reapply it as many times as you've, like, burned it. So, like, if you salvage an aspect just once, then you might only have one use of it until you find more to burn. But usually you've got so many of the things piled up, you know. And as you learn, and as you burn better ones, they upgrade in your codex. Yeah, so many things that made the game tedious. No, it's much better now. It's much, much better. Yeah, if you're looking for something to just, like, you know, click tiny heads and hear tiny screams, like, I'd give it another try if I were you. It just started. The new season just started, like, 2 weeks ago. Especially because Necro is so strong. All of the S tier builds are Necro. And I know you love your Necromancers. That's why David's dissatisfied, is because I'm going to be more powerful than he is. Even though I've mucked about with my build and made it more my own. But yes, if you like dead people and you cannot lie, now is the time to play Diablo 4. Just doing a little bit of fur texture on the upper part of the arm just to get a little bit of highlight and shadow, just a little bit of suggestion of it. Just using the dark gray to highlight that, just enough so that you can see that there's a highlight. You don't need to do a lot when you're highlighting black. Get just a little bit of highlight here on the back of the leg to show that calf, and we have some that we put over here to pick up this bone here, the hock bone. My whole, like, dinner plans this week have gotten derailed because of David's dinner last night, so now I'm like, my next dinner was going to be like tri-tip hash because we have some leftover tri-tip to use, but that's going to take longer than I usually like to do on a CrossFit night, but maybe do it anyway. Yeah, Turgeon, have fun. Yeah, you have a great afternoon too. Yes, and to you, Shadow Raven. All right, we're good, and it's 11. So let's see. I'm just going to see if there's any other, like, touch-ups I really want to make. Like up here on the ear, since we just have a few minutes left. I don't want to open a new color and waste a bunch of paint. So just tightening up some of this stuff. Making sure that I didn't miss any spots. I'm going to take my black and round out around this foot as well. This is a hard one to cut off the base because the feet are so flat and wide, and the texture here. So I may just integrate this base in with a bigger base for him. Put a lot of grass. I don't do this much grass usually on a base, so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll try to do some mixed static grass, like different colors of static grass on one base. I have that in my backyard since I told myself, or told my yard people not to kill the clover that I'm trying to grow. So that means they didn't really do any like herbicides, or weed killers. So I've got quite the mixed batch of grass in my backyard. Along with clover and a few small weeds. But as long as we don't get any of the scary weeds, I'm okay. There we go. And you know what? I could even, since it's kind of like grayscale, I could even put some gray in here to blend in that black. That way anything I put over it is going to get the benefit of the underpainting. But yeah, I'm having more fun with this guy than I expected. Just goes to show that even if you're not like totally thrilled about a figure, you can find something about it to have fun with and like. That was kind of my philosophy when I was a staff painter at Reaper. No matter how much the figure just wasn't my cup of tea, I would just like find something to like about it. Same for if I would start grounding out on a figure, like not really wanting to finish it, or I'd be like, well, what do I really love about this figure? And I'd try to find something to work on that I really could have fun with. And it would enliven my enthusiasm for the project. There we go. That's better. Just a bit of shadow around the feet to define them better. Alrighty. Sweet. So I think... yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what blue I'm going to go with here. I think I might go with a lighter blue and darker blue versus top and pants. And go with some red. Maybe red and black or red and purple. I'm going to use some purples to shade the blue though. So maybe red and black on the stitched together shirt with gold edging. So that, because silver will blend into the silver fur too much. I feel like I've got a little bit of issue on this sword actually. Maybe that's just paint. Yeah, it's just paint. Good deal. Trying to make sure I didn't leave any mold line here. Looks good though. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, and I might go to a black purple or a blue black on the pants, although I don't want it to be too dark because you want to alternate. So when we're thinking about colors, when you get to the pants, you want to alternate light and dark. So that doesn't mean that you can't do the pants in a dark color, but what it does mean is if you do that, then you probably want to put a silver or a gold accent around the cuff so that or even a red. Like any like lighter accent that will separate like a dark blue or dark purple from this black and make this detail stand out. But you wouldn't want to do something that was really dark blue here and just leave it all dark blue and a black is just going to disappear. So when I say alternate light and dark, I don't always mean the main color. I often just mean there has to be like some kind of like thing. Like if I'm going to do these pants dark, then the shirt could also be dark, but then this border around the bottom of the shirt would have to be lighter or something like that, right? So when you're thinking light, dark, that's kind of what you want to think about. He's got a cute little clasp on his belt. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now is like a lighter, brighter blue up top and a dark blue or dark purple for the pants, and then maybe red and black for the shirt. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. The black on the shirt will be fine because it isn't like right up against the black fur at all. So everywhere I look, even though it comes out here and that does intersect the black fur, there's a border. So you can see there's actually a decorative border around here, or a stitched border, so we can make this a different color. We don't need to make it the black. And that'll help keep the details showing. That makes sense to all y'all. So that's how I think about it when I'm doing color composition and choosing colors and trying to figure out light or dark, because I'm always thinking light or dark as well. We went pink with the Harefolk, the girl. But I didn't want to go pastels on this guy. I want more punchy colors, more flashy. I feel like he's more flashy. So, for a tiny wee bit, Zachariah, Kiki's here. She's like, hey, Mom, okay, it's time now. It's time now, Mama. It's time now. Hi there, silly girl, wagging your tail. Hi, Wags. Hi, Wags. How are you? Yeah, I'm about to tell people goodbye. I'm about to tell people goodbye, and I'm about to tell them that tomorrow we are going to paint the base on our dragonkin. Hey guys, it's base painting time. Remember our base? That really actually worked out really well. So yeah, so we're gonna paint our base for the dragonkin tomorrow. Yes, and that's a perfect base for her. It's just very simple. So yeah, come on back tomorrow for that. And remember, no Reaper Live tonight. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Thanks. You're welcome. Everybody who's saying thank you for the stream. Thank you, Quindy. Thank you, Quindy. You know you want to be my necromancer bestie. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.